The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Panic spread worldwide after a leaked report from the World Health Organization showed that the latest vaccination tests have failed.
With the bureaucrats out of power, we can finally take the necessary steps.
Los Angeles is now the latest city to be placed under martial law. All residents are required to report to their designated quarantine. Riots have continued for a third consecutive day, and winter rations are at an all-time low.
A group calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for both attacks.
Their public charter calls for the return of all branches of government.
Demonstrations broke out following the execution of 6 more alleged Fireflies.
You can still rise with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Believe in the Fireflies.
Sometimes a game just hits differently. It becomes more than a video game, it sinks deep into the gritty layers of your subconscious. On June the 14th, 2013, Naughty Dog released The Last of Us. It had a profound effect on me, actually, and raised my expectations of what games could deliver in terms of story and emotional chops. The opening to The Last of Us is one of the most heart-wrenching moments I've ever seen in a video game. It really punches you in the gut, and it does that very quickly because you've only just met Joel and you've only just met Sarah and Tommy, and in the introduction we see everything just falling apart in terms of society. You start seeing infected running around and you're seeing people just in sheer panic mode, and essentially that's what happens. The soldier who encounters Joel and Sarah, he follows orders, he knows he shouldn't do, but he does. He opens fire and Sarah dies in Joel's arms. And with Joel's sobs still ringing in our ears, we press on.
Listen to me, I know this hurts, baby. You're gonna be okay, baby. Stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby. I know. Sarah. Baby.
So like I've said, 2013 was the first time I played The Last of Us, and it was right at the end of the PS3's era. The PS3 delivered some amazing games, and The Last of Us came right at the end of that in the twilight months. Naughty Dog delivered a game that squeezed every inch of power out of that system to deliver the visuals and the artistic direction that they managed to accomplish with this game. The first time you set off with Tess and Joel, you walk out and you see Boston open up in front of you, and it's very different to what we know as a city. The windows are half boarded up, things have started to depreciate, the city's been modified, you've got soldiers on the roofs scouting, you've got Humvees driving past. It really does feel like a war zone almost, and that is a real juxtaposition to what we expect in our own cities.
Attention. Citizens are required to carry a current ID at all times. Compliance with all city personnel is mandatory.
Look at that. Ration line hasn't opened yet. Must be running low again.
So, as the PS4 was finding its footing in 2014, The Last of Us received not a remake, but a remaster. So Naughty Dog decided to give the textures an overhaul, improve the lighting, and to add a 60 frames a second mode as well. And it's a worthwhile update. But I think the biggest change, or the biggest addition, was actually a new piece of single-player DLC called Left Behind. I will cover this a bit more later in the review, but yeah, it was a worthwhile update. Wasn't too expensive, and as a big fan of the game anyway, I was straight away on board with it.
We won't get another shot at this.
In 2022, when the PS5 had already landed, we started to hear rumours about a PS5 remake of The Last of Us Part 1. And I will be honest with you, I was really worried about the game being remade to the point where it didn't reflect the original feelings, and we would lose something in translation. So as details were confirmed, this was clear it was going to be a full remake from the bottom up. including character assets, including facial animations, the actors that were used for the faces. So, for example, Ellie's face was completely changed from the original vision to more reflect the character they used in Part 2, which kind of makes sense. Now, the whole Part 1 and Part 2 were meshed together and felt more like a continuous story as opposed to two separate games. So in the last few years, people remaking games has become quite a common thing, and so when the news arrived that The Last of Us was getting a full remake, there was quite a lot of controversy. Naughty Dog received quite a lot of criticism about how they should really be looking at maybe doing Part 3 or remaking one of the other games that were more sought after, and so lots of people were definitely not sold on this idea. But after playing this on PS5 originally and then PC, the PS5 version was fantastic, and I could tell even within a few minutes of playing they really had done an amazing job, and I was very happy with the quality, like overwhelmingly happy with the quality of this product. So when the PC release date was announced for Last of Us Part 1, I was really excited to get in and finally try it on PC. Unfortunately, the version we got was absolutely abysmal. The port was one of the first ones that Sony had brought over from their stable, which was really badly ported, and they did a terrible job. The graphics were all there, but in terms of performance, it was really underperforming. There was loads of crashing issues, which I had myself. The game would crash like every few minutes, and it was generally seen as a terrible port. Now, after months and months of patching and work, they finally got the game running to a reasonable level. But even to this day, I still see the odd hitch in the graphics. You may even see the odd 2 or 3 second hitch in the footage I've provided. Yeah, it was definitely gutting to see one of the legacy titles be treated with such disdain, and I really did lose a lot of respect for Naughty Dog on that day. But we all make mistakes, and so hopefully they've learned a lot from that lesson. But yeah, the PC version of this game, when it first came out, was definitely not up to snuff.
You mumble in your sleep. I hate bad dreams.
Yeah, me too.
I've never been this close to the outside. Look how dark it is. Can't be any worse out there. Can it?
What on earth do the Fireflies want with you?
So I'm going to get into spoilers very soon, so if you've never played these games before, please, for the love of God, don't continue with my retro review. Just go and play them. This game and Part 2 come with my highest recommendation. If you like anything to do with good storytelling or good single-player games, these are up there with some of the best ever made. So, yeah, enjoy. But, let's continue. So after the game's opening sequence, we find Joel 20 years later in the Boston quarantine zone. He's shacked up with Tess, who is very tough, very reliable, and they're in a partnership of sorts, both like romantic and business. And there's a deal that's gone wrong with someone called Robert, and that's where we end up heading towards. Things go south, obviously, and it turns out that the head of the Fireflies, Marlene, has the weapons that you were promised. So to get the weapons back, you take on a job. And that job is to smuggle Ellie out of the city and get her to the Fireflies. So this trio carry on for a while together, and they go through some pretty awesome parts of the game. I love the skyscraper. It's a very impressive part of the game, and very atmospheric, the areas around it as well. But eventually they run into a confrontation with some infected, and unfortunately Tess gets bitten, and in an argument with Joel about the Fireflies, she reveals that she has been bitten, and this is her last stop. Now, Tess stays behind to give them some time to escape from the soldiers that have just arrived, very Tess, you know, goes out in a blaze of glory, like Bonnie and Clyde. And yeah, then Joel and Ellie embark on the rest of the journey on their own.
Yes, you are. Look. There's enough here that you have to feel some sort of obligation to me, so you get her to Tommy's. They're here.
Damn it.
I can buy you some time, but you have to run.
You want us to just leave you here?
Yes.
There is no way that...
I will not turn into one of those things. Come on. Make this easy for me.
I can find...
No, just go! Just fucking go.
Whoa, look. Fireflies. I mean, real fireflies.
Yeah, I see that.
Sorry. I lost myself for a sec.
So Bill's town is actually one of my favourite areas in the game. It's a part of the game that you see Joel and Ellie start to form a real relationship, a bond. They're chatting, they're talking about things. Ellie's asking questions about the old world. Joel is answering, he's not just telling her to get lost. And yeah, this is a real turning point for them. It's also a part where you meet Bill. This is Bill's town, and Bill has trust issues. He's wired up the entire town with booby traps, used infected to cordon off areas, and generally just doesn't trust the rest of humanity. And to be fair, he's got a good point. In terms of gameplay mechanics, you actually pick up some really decent weapons here as well. You get the bow, which is my favourite weapon. You also get the explosive shrapnel grenades, which are very handy in groups of infected. And you also see some like really interesting mechanics. There's one part where you're like you walk into a trap and Joel's like hung upside down trying to defend himself and Ellie. You actually fight a bloater for the first time as well. And the time of day is one of my favourite times of day. You get to see the ephemeral light fading from the sky, and all the buildings are all lit up from the side, like really golden brown. And it's just a really pleasant like gap between what happened before and what's coming ahead.
Oh, look at that.
Would you play this before?
No. But I had a friend that knew everything about this game. Apparently, there's this character called Angel Knives who'd... what was it? She'd punch a hole through your stomach before kicking your head off.
I was never a big fan of these things.
Get off your ass on your feet.
Man, that was close. Thanks for the heroics and all. Ellie. Hey, what are you... Joel?
Bill!
What are you doing?
Bill!
Let me go.
Turn around and get on your knees.
Just calm down a second.
Turn around
All right.
and get on your knees. Don't test me. Just
Take it easy.
any bites. Oh. Anything sprouting?
Oh, God damn it, I'm clean!
If I see so much as a twig. Ow! Stop! Son of a bitch!
You done?
Am I done? You come into my house, you set off all my traps, you damn near break my shooting arm. Who the fuck is this punk and what's she doing here?
I am none of your goddamn business, and we're here because you owe Joel some favors. And you can start by taking these off.
I owe Joel some favors. Is some kind of joke?
I'll cut to the chase. I need a car.
So, needless to say, Joel and Ellie get their car from Bill. Bill tells them to unceremoniously fuck off out of his town, and they do. They're on their way. After driving quite a way, they end up near Pittsburgh, and Joel comes across what he knows is probably a trap, but they have to get through, so he goes for it anyway. And yeah, they get ambushed, the car gets wrecked, and they're on foot.
Holy shit. Are we gonna help him?
Put your seatbelt on, Ellie.
Well, what about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
Alone and sick and by bleeding my stand. Oh Lord, if you hear me, take my hand.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Then get out, quick.
Come here. Shit.
Let go of me, you chicken shit!
So this sequence starts off what I call in my head the city. This is where you start to encounter actual human opposition, groups of bandits. These ones in particular, as you find out, are not just after your loot and your shoes, they're after your sweetmeats. And if you don't win, you're going to end up as a Sunday roast. And it starts to expand upon what this world is now. You know, this isn't just things aren't working anymore. You're living under a fascist rule back in Boston. But compared to this, that's actually not too bad. This is now, you're out there and you're basically food for these guys who are going to kill you, string you up, and chop you into pieces. But this is also where we meet two new characters, Sam and Henry.
Joel, stop! Look!
Leave him alone. Easy, son. Just take it easy.
It's all right. They're not the bad guys. Lower the gun. Man, you hit hard.
Well, I was trying to kill you.
One of my favourite elements about dystopian futures in games or films is how it looks and examines the human condition. It looks at how, when our comforts and our safety mechanisms are taken away, how humans start to behave more based on their base instincts and their base drives. And some people give into that, become cannibals or hunters, or just, you know, kill everybody. And some people don't. Some people fight that process and still trying to hang on to humanity. And I like that about Joel and Ellie and Sam and Henry. They're trying to hold on to that thing that makes them human. There's a really amazing sequence when they're trying to escape the city. Henry has to put Sam first, and he does. And that's a natural thing to do. I would put my son first. But Joel feels betrayed, and there's a sequence where he nearly kills Henry, but then doesn't, because in actual fact, that process led to a situation where then Henry could save Joel and Ellie, swim out to the river. So I love that interesting dynamic, and it's sequences like this that make The Last of Us as good as it is.
I don't think anyone from my group is gonna show up.
Yeah.
Worst part about it all, explaining it to Sam.
Well, it's safe to say.
Unfortunately, as we find out in the opening sequence of the game, there's not much plot armor in The Last of Us, and after succeeding to escape the city and take down the Humvee and find supplies and everything's kind of like pretty good, we find out that Sam got bitten in that sequence. And after a very emotional like exchange between him and Ellie, they wake up in the morning and Ellie walks in and Sam is starting to turn. Sam rushes through, he's on top of Ellie, and Joel is trying to help Ellie, but obviously Henry is trying to deal with that in real time. And Henry does the right thing, but then turns on Joel and tells him that it's all his fault, and then unfortunately kills himself in a really shocking scene.
Sam?
What the hell? Shit, he's turning!
That's my fucking brother!
Screw it!
Shit!
Ellie? Ellie, are you alright?
Oh my god.
Sam?
Oh no.
Sam?
Henry? Ellie, stay there. Henry?
What have you done?
I'm gonna get that gun from you, okay? Oh, okay, easy.
It's your fault.
This is nobody's fault, Henry.
It's all your fault.
Henry! Henry, no!
Oh my god.
Some of the best characters in gaming, or any medium, are people who've got flaws, character flaws. It shows that they are human and they have made mistakes. When the world went to shit, Joel and Tommy, they joined essentially a raiders group. They became the bad guys. And this is touched on a few times through the conversations that Ellie and Joel have. This then leads to Tommy and Joel becoming estranged, and eventually Tommy loses contact with Joel. This sequence sees Tommy and Joel reunited, and obviously time has healed some wounds, and Tommy's very happy to see Joel. Now, when Joel and Tommy parted ways, Tommy did become a Firefly for a period of time, and so this is the essence of why Joel needs to speak to Tommy. He needs to find out where the Fireflies were last seen, and Joel is feeling himself coming more human. He's starting to feel the bond between him and Ellie growing, and this sequence is, in essence, one last-ditch attempt to try and push Ellie away, trying to, re-establish control over his life. He doesn't really want to have a relationship. He's been hurt, and he wants to push anyone away that's trying to change that.
It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk, it's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. And we are going our separate ways.
Get it together.
So our next destination is the University of Eastern Colorado. This is where Tommy says the Fireflies were last seen, and so Ellie and Joel make their way there. This is another great sequence. There are loads of interesting locations, and you also get to ride a horse for the first time, which becomes something you get to do throughout both games. I feel like there are so many times in The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 where characters, they've gone through hell, they've got to their goal, and they're just in sight of it. It's just over the horizon, and then the game rips that away from them, and something happens and it all goes to shit. And I think the university scene is one of the most famous ones for that. Basically, Joel and Ellie, they find information from a scientist who was bitten by one of the monkeys they find, who happens to have the infection in their saliva. And the scientist very kindly leaves a dictaphone message which lets Joel and Ellie know that the Fireflies have moved to Salt Lake City. Just as they get this information, literally that second, they're attacked by a group of raiders, and in that fight, Joel is mortally wounded. This sequence is amazing. Joel is trying to keep himself moving. He's a very tough guy, and so even with a hole in his sternum, he's managing to move forward. Ellie's doing her best to defend him and doing a great job, but yeah, this sequence is very tense. One of the most tense in the game, actually, and it ends with Joel and Ellie managing to get on a horse, but then Joel falls off the horse unconscious, and Ellie's left on her own.
You're looking for the Fireflies. They've all left.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm dead. Or I will be soon. Got me some time to reflect. Been years that felt like we were... fucking thing was a giant waste of time. I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Come on.
Looking for the others. They've all returned to St. Mary's Hospital in Salt Lake City. You'll find them there. Still trying to save the world. Good luck with that.
Do you know where that is?
I know the city.
Is it far?
It ain't close. I mean, on horseback.
What? The Fireflies?
Get down!
Oh!
So yeah, winter. This is a really interesting part of the game. We find Ellie now obviously skip forward in time. We don't really know what's happened to Joel. He could be dead, he could be alive somewhere, we just don't know. But we take control of Ellie in the forest, and we obviously follow the game mechanics. We're like hinted we should, chase the deer, kill the deer, and see what happens. During this process, she runs into two strangers who appear to be friendly and reasonable. They're from a settlement with women and children, apparently. And the two strangers offer to trade Ellie for some of the deer meat. Ellie immediately says antibiotics, which tells us, the player, that Joel is alive somewhere but desperately needs antibiotics. He must have some type of infection. So one of the strangers goes back to the settlement to get the antibiotics, and David, the other one, who seems to be in charge, stays with Ellie. They get attacked, obviously, by some infected, and they must work together to survive. The sequence is pretty cool. You immediately get a feeling about David. There's not something quite right about him. He just seems very off. His voice is also quite disturbing and creepy. And yeah, you're not far wrong, because eventually you find out that David is part of a settlement that actually is a bunch of cannibals themselves. But they have women and children, and they have educational programs, but they also eat people who are not part of their settlement. So, this is how it goes in the world of The Last of Us.
And I can prove it to you. Now, this winter, that's been especially cruel. A few weeks back, I sent a group of men out to a nearby town to look for food. Only a few came back. He said that the others had been slaughtered by a crazy man. And get this, he's a crazy man traveling with a little girl. You see, everything happens for a reason. Don't get upset. It's not your fault. I'm just a kid. James, lower the gun.
No way, David. I'm not gonna let her go.
Lower the gun. Now give her the medicine.
The others won't be happy about this.
Yeah, well, that's not your concern.
So Ellie does actually make it away from David, gets back to Joel and administers the antibiotics, which gives Joel a fighting chance. Unfortunately, David's men have actually tracked Ellie back to the place where they're hiding. So Ellie leads them away, and then we start this sequence where it's flitting between Joel, who now wakes up and is able to start moving forward again, and Ellie, who's fighting for her life against these bandits, cannibals, call them what you like. And it also turns out that David is actually interested in some type of sexual relationship with Ellie. Given Ellie's 14 and David's probably pushing 50, that tells you exactly what David is, as well as a cannibal. But yeah, things play out and it doesn't end well for David, let's just say that. And yeah, off to Salt Lake City we go. Salt Lake City spells almost the end of the game. I feel like once I get to this part of the game, I'm kind of wrapping things up. I've got all the skills I want. All my weapons are upgraded to the point where I've done all that stuff. And there's just a couple of sequences before the final crescendo. This is actually quite calm, like a calm before the storm. And in actual fact, it's one of the most beautiful scenes in any game I've ever seen. The music kicks in and you see these giraffes moving across past this glass, and then you go around the corner and they're there, and it's just such a lovely situation to be in. And I'm really glad they did this because it provided like a refuge, almost like a mental refuge for you after the situation with the cannibals and before the absolute chaos that ensues when you meet the Fireflies.
Come on, hurry up. You see this? Shh, don't scare it.
I won't.
What are you doing?
It's all right. Come here. Hey, fella. Hurry up. Come on.
Hey there. So fucking cool. Oh, where's it off to? Here, come on, let's go.
Slow down, kiddo.
Come on. Hurry up, come on. Oh, man. Wow. Look at those things.
So, is everything you were hoping for?
It's got its ups and downs, but you can't deny the view, though.
So shortly after this sequence, there's a few more areas, and then Joel and Ellie end up in what I call like the last tunnel of the game. There's a few more infected, a bloater, I think there's 2 bloaters, yeah. And then we end up in a situation where there's an accident. Ellie ends up in some fast moving water, Joel can't get to her in time, and essentially she drowns in the water. He gets to her eventually, drags her out of the water and starts performing CPR. Very tense moment. And then these 2 idiotic guards who can see a guy who's clearly trying to save a young girl with CPR, and they've got their guns on him, and now they knock him out as opposed to just letting him get on with it. Always drives me mad. But yeah, they knock out Joel and he wakes up in the Firefly base. and they've made it. Ellie's there, Joel's there, but unfortunately Ellie's asleep. Marlene is stood there, and she explains to Joel that they managed to save Ellie after they knocked him out, and she has immunity, and they can make a vaccine. The downside is that they have to kill Ellie to get the vaccine to work. Now you can imagine Joel's reaction to this isn't exactly stellar. In fact, he's like, no, find somebody else. And Marlene says, well, there is nobody else. Now, maybe there isn't. This, to me, is what I call the red line. The reason why I call it a red line is because I also have kids, and I know that if my kids were being sacrificed and someone said, we can do this, but it saves humanity, but your kids will die, that's not even a choice for me. I wouldn't be able to do it. Even for the entire planet, I wouldn't sacrifice my kids. But this is why it gets so interesting, because as happens with the story, and this is why part 2 is so interesting to me, is that Ellie, because she's fundamentally a good person, she hates Joel for making that decision for her, but also the fact he made the decision in the first place. She wanted her life to mean something. She wanted her immunity to mean something, and it would have done. And Joel takes that away from her. But from Joel's point of view, he's saving her. So it's this back and forth between morality, making the right choice, and also some choices as a parent you would never make. I also think the Fireflies made an absolutely monumental mistake here. All they had to do was to wake Ellie up, let her recover, and then say to her, it's your choice. You know, like she did, she woke up in the back of the car with Joel, so she would have woke up anyway. And just say to her, it's your body, it's your life, you have the choice. You can either sacrifice yourself and save humanity, or you can carry on living. And we all know what Ellie would have chosen. She would have chosen to sacrifice herself. And I think at that point, Joel wouldn't have been able to say anything against that. But instead, they press ahead when she's still asleep. And I think that was a huge mistake. And that's where they went wrong. And that gave Joel like the moral authority to say, look, you're not doing this. I'm taking her out of here. And anybody who gets in my way, well, that's their choice. I also think Joel makes a decision here that is interesting, and I would like to know what he was actually thinking when he did it. When Joel reaches the operating theatre, he actually kills the surgeon and his team. Now, the surgeon is the only person who is alive that they know of who can perform this vaccine procedure. And so Joel essentially is borrowing that option from Ellie forever. Because even if they get her back in an operating theatre, that operation can now no longer be done. Nobody knows how to do it. Joel also, at this moment, is creating demons. He's creating the landscape, the canvas for The Last of Us Part 2. Because when Abby finds her father murdered in cold blood, that changes her. That sets her on a collision course with Ellie for the second game. In the final few moments of the game, we see Joel and Ellie making their way back to Jackson. When Ellie wakes up, Joel tells Ellie that they've stopped looking for a cure, that there's been loads of people like her, and it's just not going to work. And essentially her immunity means nothing. I think initially Ellie accepts this at the end of the game, but then obviously through part 2 we see Ellie start to question that, and eventually finds out that that wasn't the case. I think Joel is actually scared of losing Ellie if she finds out the truth about how he took her out of there without asking her permission. And even though the Fireflies were going to take her alive without permission. Joel lost one daughter, and now he's only just started to open up and almost see Ellie as like a surrogate daughter. But he doesn't want to lose her, a second daughter, and so he does what lots of people would have done. He lies, he's weak, and that weakness then comes back to bite him in part 2. Ellie finds out, and as we know, that is how part 2 is orchestrated.
Be all poetic and just lose our minds together. I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die. And then it was Tess. and then Sam.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving. And you... No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.